Hello, everyone. I'm Jason Wetland from the Miami University Atlanta chapter. Welcome to the second part of our three-part digital makeover series. Joining us in today's webinar and conversation is Mark Galvin. He's the president and founder of ePresence, a digital marketing agency that manages social media for companies, organizations, individuals, and college students. He was a hospitality professional for 29 years. Using his hospitality expertise, he evolved into a personal social media expert at ePresence. Mark resides in Atlanta with Stephanie, his wife of 30 years, and they have 3 children and 2 dachshunds. Would you agree that a digital first impression can be made on LinkedIn? Would you like to influence people to work with you or your company? If your answer is yes to either of those questions, Mark is here to share how LinkedIn can be optimized for a first impression or influence your contacts. Welcome, Mark. Thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Jason, it's good to be here. And thank you for bringing up my 2 dachshunds, man. They are right there wagging their tails at that. So, they need a little bit of kudos. So appreciate that. Jason, good to be with you guys. We're going to do a little bit of work. And hey, Jason, are you willing to let me show off your LinkedIn profile tonight?
I am, but before you do that, I do want to quickly let everyone know that we did collect questions before registration, and Mark will address some of those throughout the webinar today. You also have the option to ask questions during the webinar by clicking the Ask a Question button at the bottom of your screen. Please note that in the interest of time, we may not get to every question. Today's webinar will last about an hour, including time for questions and answers. Go ahead, Mark.
All right, man. Thank you so much. So I do have I got the list of questions here, and so I'll sprinkle those in as we go from the ones that were shared with me. But good. So here's the plan tonight, folks. We are going to go over the 5 key things that will make your LinkedIn profile really pop. I was fortunate. Jason was kind enough to let me join you guys for your LinkedIn program that was a couple weeks ago, I think. And what's great is this is not going to be a duplication of what you saw a couple weeks ago. We're going to push the ball further down the field. So glad to be with you guys, and thrilled that you chose me to help you guys out with specifically your LinkedIn profiles. So here are the 5 things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the profile picture. We're going to hit the headline. We're going to get into the about section, and we're going to talk about your skills and endorsements. So what's good is we're going to go through those a piece at a time, so you can slowly see those great things and how you can change those. We're not going to just talk about what is important. We're going to tell you how you make them better. So here's the deal. We're going to start off. We got a couple of folks that have been willing to join us today. And one of those folks is Alex Tremalio. Tremalio. I practiced that, Alex. How did I do? Tremalio? Tremalio. Did it work? Oh, maybe she's working on her microphone. While she does that, thank you so much, Alex, for joining us. Let's show her screen, show her profile. So here is her profile, and there's a lot of great things on it. And this is what's good is you're going to see her profile is a second level connection for me. So you can see the second level right here in the middle. That's fantastic. And here's what I like about that. You'll be able to see what a profile looks like if you're not connected with someone. And Alex, in this case, you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to say, hey, that's not the way I have that set. And that's because we're not directly connected. So that's fantastic. The next one we'll have, we're going to look at is Jason. Jason, thanks also for being willing to take a look at your profile. I appreciate that. Here's the good news, folks. We're not interested in breaking up, really making them feel bad. The goal is to pull real people that are involved in your organization that you know, because you get a better feel for what is real life. So these are live. We are literally right in the middle of LinkedIn. So we think this will really pay off for you guys. Well, let's start off with Alex. Alex, are you there yet? All right, so we don't have Alex. Let's go back over to Jason. Jason, the thing that I said first that we'd look at would be your profile picture. And the profile picture is super important. And here's why it is. When I walk up and meet Jason for the first time, I will look him in the eye and shake his hand. Well, we do not cease to be human when we land on somebody's LinkedIn profile. I still am going to look Jason in the eye when I land on his profile. So I need to make sure that all of you need to make sure that your eyes are easily seen. So you can crop your picture well. Jason, here you have glasses on. You don't normally wear glasses, do you?
When I took that picture, I was sitting at a desk all day everywhere, and those are blue light glasses.
That's awesome. So again, I will tell you, this is not a bad picture. I can see your eyes well. I just know you because I haven't seen you with glasses before. It is important that your profile picture represents the way you look today, so that if I run into Jason in a coffee shop, haven't met him, don't know him, I'm going to look for Jason with glasses. So it's a good idea. First, have a picture that is you currently. Now, your eyes are easily seen. And what's important to remember is that all of you, most of your people, most of the folks that are going to be viewing your profile will be viewing it on a mobile phone, right? 80% of use on LinkedIn is on a mobile app. So, Jason, I want you to look at your profile picture on your phone, see if you can still notice your eyes. If you can't, then you should crop it a little closer. I would also encourage you to look at getting a new profile picture because of those glasses. Yeah, just go ahead and get that as an update. Outside of that, I think it's a great picture because it really looks like you, and that's an important part. All right, we're going to come back to Alex. Alex, is your microphone working yet? Are you there? All right, we're going to talk about Alex, and if when her microphone starts working, we'll talk to her. And so just jump in at any time, Alex. So Alex's picture is fantastic. And here's why I like this is because it's really well lit. Jason, your picture wasn't as well lit. And so that's one of the first things I want to highlight here. I can see her eyes. She's friendly, very approachable. This is very good. That kind of picture really does resonate with your audience. Again, when we meet each other, we're going to shake hands. And for the record, here in Atlanta, we are shaking hands. I'm astounded at how many people I walk up to. I stutter to see if they're going to want to shake hands, and people are doing that. So that habit is not going away. So how do you know if your profile picture is great? Well, I want to share this site with you. It's called photofeeler.com. There's the name of the site right up there at the top, photofeeler.com. This is what this site does. It is a crowdsourced site, so random people will land on your profile and tell you their first impression on it. So you've got you guys may be seeing this. It's rotating around. We have business, we have dating, and then we have social. So you have three different levels of three different categories. You can totally get pictures on your social and dating pictures if you want. But we're going to focus on the business aspect of this, and it is rather awesome. So here are some samples. These are real life results that we've got for our clients on PhotoFeeler. The first one is this gentleman. He is a hotelier. He actually appears on the Travel Channel, Hotel Impossible. And he and I talked, and it's funny. I told him, I said, dude, your profile picture is not going to perform well. And the reason is we can't see his eyes. So we can't connect with him here. Plus, he's not very friendly. So that's going to have an impact on his likability. So the three levels that we're going to see judgments on are competence, likability, and influence. I recommend that you get at least 40 votes on your profile picture here because it gets a good random sample, and you will find out whether that picture that you think is great is going to perform well. Let's switch gears. Let's go to this gentleman. Here we go. He's looking at the camera. He's friendly. He has a jacket on, and I will tell you, and this is even true after COVID, jackets still have an impact on competence and influence. Jackets do have an impact, and this is true for men or women. And I'll show the ladies, I'll show you guys a photo of a female model, but you can see how well his scores are compared to the last gentleman's scores. Again, we got 40 votes. So let's go down and take a look at some of the pictures of a professional woman. What we see here is, here's a good example of a colored jacket. Notice her scores are, I would tell you, these are great scores, even with the colored jacket that she has on that multicolored jacket. This is fantastic. But notice this, once we jump to a jacket that's darker, the competence score goes up. And you can see the competence number over here went to 9.7. And notice the influence score went up to 9.7. And you can compare some of the others here, but you can see the darker jacket does have an impact. So, hey, Jason, you want to do some voting? You want to see how the voting works?
Sure.
Now, Jason, don't judge me. I'm controlling this. So if I judge someone, you don't like it, don't get mad at me. Okay. Is that fair?
Fair enough.
All right. So this gentleman, you can see down here, maybe hard to read. It says Global HR Business Partner. And so he just drops in a picture. I get to rate him on competence. Does he look competent? Actually, you know what? He does. He looks very competent. Likable? He kind of looks like, I'm really stuck. Somewhat, yes. He looks like a boss I had that I really didn't like. He does.
He's kind of smirking. He looks like he's hiding something.
Yeah. I'm going to give him a yes. And then influential, I think he looks very influential. That jacket, even though it's not dark, it still does have an impact. So there we are. I submit my vote. New picture comes up. So that's how this works. You guys can go in here, and I recommend that you go in and rate other people's pictures for a while before you start dropping in your own, or before you get your own profile picture, so you know what kind of profile picture you should land on. Cool. Do we have any questions about profile pictures that have been coming in? If not, we'll just keep moving on.
I haven't seen any.
Rock on. Let's go. So if you have questions, go ahead and throw it into the chat box. I don't mind answering questions on the fly, so feel free to do that. We're going to move on to the next section. Excuse me. We're going to move on to the next section, and it is called the headline. The headline is super important because it's that line that shows up right below your name. It's really important because of search. So as we look at Alex's profile, her headline is Senior Insight Strategist at Radius Illumination. So notice here, she did exactly, by the way, what LinkedIn tells you to do. LinkedIn will tell you this to do in the help section. Put her title and her company name. Well, and I do know this was discussed in your last one, but I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a hack. Couple of things. The first is, notice the company names appearing here on the right of her profile. So you don't need to have your company name there, and it shows up in search. So it already appears here. So let's save that. Why? This line is 220 characters long. Because it's 220 characters long, you may need that real estate. So what we want to do is really understand how that search works and how this line is impacted by search. So the best way to do that is we're going to go in, we're going to open a new tab. And on this new tab, we're going to do a search. So here we are. I used to be in the hospitality business. Because I was in the hospitality business, we used to look for meeting planners all day long. That was those were the folks that were our targets. So because of that, I'm going to use that. Notice what happens when I just hit enter and I see what results come up. Notice this. I did press enter. I didn't just select off the pull down. You get different results based on the pull down versus pressing enter. First of all, LinkedIn serving my second level connections. They are not showing my first level connections. Why is this important? It's because LinkedIn wants to show you people that you don't know, that are in your network, yes, but who you don't know. Why? Because it assumes if you're looking for someone by that title, you don't have somebody in your network that has that title. If you want somebody in your immediate connections, come over here to all filters. And if you press that, you can come in here and you can select the first level. So you can add them and you can always control that here on the side. So good. What's important here is this. As you look over here, notice meeting planner in her headline. Down here, meeting planner. Look here again, meeting planner. I can go on and on. You guys get the point. It is searching your headline for those search terms when I look for someone in the search bar. Okay. What does this mean to you, Jason? Let's go to Jason and look at his, wrong button. So as I look at Jason, tell me what do you do? I know what you do, but give me some of the words that describe the work you do.
We're mainly a flooring contractor.
You're a flooring contractor. Okay. Do you do any other work or just flooring?
We also have a handyman side of the business as well.
Okay. And I can probably, if you and I were to sit together, we could probably come up with 20 different words that someone would use when they come up here to the search bar and they're looking for what you do, right? So the first thing is if I come in here and I'm looking for a flooring contractor and I type that there, let's see what happens. I get results. Look at this person, flooring contractor, flooring contractor. I might call them if they were closer to my network. I may discover you. Maybe you're a second level connection because you're connected to somebody else as an alum of Miami. So I think that's very possible that you would show here if someone searched for flooring contractor and is alum of Miami University. So we definitely want those words there, but there may be some other things that are important to note. And that is, did I lose you? I lost you. I did that on your page. So not only do you do flooring contracting, you do other work as well. This is what I would encourage you to do, and I encourage everyone to do this. I would like for you to sit down and write out 20 words that someone would use to find you if they don't know you. These are search engine optimization words. That's really what we're talking about. What are those key words that someone is going to use inside LinkedIn when they're going to search for what you do? Now, let's say you're someone looking for a job. I would put into your headline the positions, the titles, and the characteristics of the job you want. Skip words like competent, reliable, so on. You don't really need adjectives because I'm not going to search for a competent physician's assistant. I'm not going to search for a competent engineer. I'm going to search for an engineer, a chemical engineer maybe, right? So you want to have the words up here in your headline that directly are going to be impacted by search. Now, I told you guys before that line is 220 characters long. What does that look like? It's a lot. So here's mine. I use up 4 lines. The 220 characters for me ends up somewhere over here because I have a little bit of wiggle room. Here's why. I can constantly change my profile. I'm frequently in here changing a keyword or two because keywords change. I do recommend if you have this many words that you remember the top 2 lines are the most important. So really put the most important words up top. How do you make sure you do that? Jason, you got your 20 words, you've written them out. I want you to rank them 1 to 20. 1's the most important, which sounds like flooring. 2 would be contractor, and so on. So come up with that list, rank them 1 to 20, and then that's your roadmap. You then can start off building your headline with flooring contractor and go on from there. Something that has been brought up before is that is encouraged to say something about you, right? Something that shows your personality, something that people will find unique about you. And that's true. You can absolutely do that. I would make sure that you're getting your big key, the big keywords that are really going to help people find you. Make sure they're in your headline. And if you've got so many words that it's pushing out those words that will impact the things about your personality, then put the personality stuff down in the about section, which is further down your profile right here. All right, good. Any questions? No live questions yet. I just see from JJ. Actually, that was 10 minutes ago. Anything coming in yet? It's cool. I got a question here that I'm going to answer then. One of the questions that came up was, do you recommend separate personal and work Twitter accounts? How critical is social media for B2B business today? So that's 2 questions. I'm going to go with both of them real fast. I don't recommend ever separating personal from business. I recommend maintaining 1 account. And the only reason is if you build 2 accounts today, the longer you've got those 2 accounts, the more work they are. So I would encourage you to go ahead and blend your business and personal on the platforms that are, well, more personal. So let's say Facebook is a more personal platform for you. only maintain one account. Now, there are reasons that some of you may find that it's better to have two accounts, and some of those could be privacy concerns, and that is fine. That's a whole different issue. But if you're just talking about looking for a job, B2B leads, or the like, have just one account and share a little bit personal about you on those accounts, but maintain them as really as business accounts. So share good quality content that'll help your audience. How critical is social media for B2B businesses today? It is critical. It is one of the spokes on the wheel of marketing. So don't put all your eggs in one basket and only work on social media, but make sure that it is one of the marketing spokes that you're maintaining. Don't ever ignore it. If you are working from a personal space, so you have a job, and whatever that job may be, you represent yourself in that organization. Support the organization at the top of your profile, like Jason has done. Make sure you support that organization. Make sure that you are showing that you are an industry expert in your space. Definitely do that. Here's something else. LinkedIn provides 277 more business to business leads than any other social media outfit, any other social media platform. So I recommend that you focus on LinkedIn for that. Good. Another question here. I'll do one more. How does your digital profile become tainted? Now that's an interesting question. It's a little, I could go a lot of places with that. So if you are that person that asked that question, I'd love for you to throw a chat box, give me a little more information here. But what are the ways that a social profile or a digital profile, and I'm going to focus on social, right? Your whole digital profile can be different because Google search is a different thing, but your digital profile, digital social media profile can be tainted if you make a mistake and say something about politics, sex, or religion, if you're not in the business of politics, sex, or religion. So the point is, I wouldn't share anything that's going to upset a part of your audience if you want to do business with a part of that audience. So it's very important to remember that. Here's something else. Jason, who's your main competitor at Miami University? Who's the sports competitor?
Probably OU, Ohio University.
So if you had well, here you go. You got that cool sweatshirt on that has the Miami logo on it. Let's say that was in your profile picture. That could upset someone from Ohio, right? The Ohio State University?
No, it's Ohio University and
Ohio University. Okay.
And it's really not that serious of a rivalry, but
all right.
That's the MAC for you.
So it's possible that someone could see you with your Miami garb on. And if they do, what they may decide without knowing it, that they don't want to do business with you. So I would encourage not to show your school colors on your profile picture. I do think this is absolutely fine. And I encourage that you put your information on your profile of where you went to college, because that is that's prestige. That is competence. It shows that you're educated. People aren't going to judge you there, but they would if you had your colors on your shirt in your profile picture. Good. All right, let's go on. The next thing we're going to talk about is the About section. Oh, and Jason, you don't have it. This is good. So you're going to get a lot. This will be good for you. I'd love to go back to Alex. Alex, are you there? Is your sound working yet? So she's muted. I can see that. There we go.
I am here.
Hello, Alex.
Hey.
Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you for being willing to join us today. We never got a chance to let you. Awesome. We never got a chance to talk about your profile picture. Do you have any questions about your profile picture?
I don't think so. I was curious. This one is a couple years old, but I didn't know if how often or how frequent you're supposed to update or.
Awesome. This is good. I'm so glad you're asking that. It is important that your profile picture looks like you. So if you change your hairstyle, if you change your hair color, if it's short, whatever, if anything like that's changing, and you're not one of those women who's constantly changing her hairstyle, because we do know there's some folks, and there's nothing wrong with that. They just change their hairstyle a lot. If you change your hairstyle and you're going to maintain that a while, then I'd get a new profile picture for that. Because you do want it to be as current as possible. The real trick, and I guess the answer to how often is every 5 years, you should look at having a new profile picture. I'll tell you something else, Alex. When we start getting back together and we'll start joining each other for conferences and meetings, you'll see there's sometimes a headshot station when you go to a convention or you go to a meeting. I encourage you always to get a headshot. And the reason is that headshot could be the headshot. Headshots are worth, I don't know. I've seen $250 for a headshot. I've seen $500 for a headshot. So when you look at that value, I don't care how bad you feel that night or how cruddy you feel, go get that headshot because it could be the one. Cool. Any other questions or comments about some of the stuff we talked about before?
No, but I do want to add that for those of you who may not already be aware, the third part of this is going to be free headshots in Atlanta for anyone who wants to join. I'll touch on that at the end. So take advantage of that. Sounds like it'll be a great value.
I love that. Well done. All right, let's come back. Alex, are you still there? I want to talk about the about.
Yes, I'm still here.
Cool. This is good. Now, Alex, are you okay if I'm a little critical?
Absolutely. I want all the help you can give me.
Okay, good. So you have done what practically everybody does. And so that is when you land on the about section, you start talking about yourself first. And why wouldn't you, right? It's your LinkedIn profile. I want you to think of yourself as a marketer. And Jason, this is very important for you as well. Think of yourself as a marketer. And as a marketer, the first thing you do is you have to identify your audience. As a senior insight strategist at Radius, who is your audience?
My audience could be a number of different people. It could be obviously my colleagues, but for the most part, it's probably our clients. So I'm a senior insight strategist, which means I'm a qualitative researcher. My job is to help companies in various different industries learn about their customers, their consumers, and help them try and make their customers' lives better or easier in some way, shape, or form.
Okay, this is great. So do you have a favorite customer?
I do.
Or two or three?
Yeah, I'll say a couple. Clorox, P&G, and Georgia Pacific.
All right.
For my
good.
My Atlanta folks.
So perfect. I'm going to ask you that again, but I don't want you to tell me who. All right. That's not important. What I want you to do is I want you to think of a specific person at those accounts. Maybe pick out two of those and think of two people at those accounts. You got them?
Okay.
I want you now to put yourself and pretend you are them. And if you are them and you ask them, what is your pain point, right? What is the thing that you want to have solved? Do you think you could come up with that answer?
Yeah, probably.
All right, good. So I want you to start off first and do that. And this is the exercise for all of you. Who is your target audience? You're going to do exactly what Alex did, which is, I think, is totally cool. Here's the company. In that company, you got the person that is the person that you're speaking to, right? And so if you're not in a type of role like Alex, you still have a target audience. Let me give you an example. Let's say it's a job. Let's say you want to get a new job and you want your LinkedIn profile to do that. Who's the person that's going to hire you at that job? Imagine that person. Who is that person? What role are they in, right? You may not know the person, but you know the role. And then I'd like for you to think about what that person needs to solve by hiring you. There's a lot of different options on here. If you wanted to throw some questions on that in the chat box, I'd be happy to tease that out for you because we're going to stop at 10 till and answer questions. So if you have a specific person in mind, a specific role, there is something that you can do to solve that. If you're being hired by them, or you're a salesperson, or you're a consultant like Alex, or you put flooring down like Jason does. that person is looking for something to solve, they need to have solved. Here's what I want you to do. The 3 steps to do this are, I want you to identify their pain point, specifically, what is their problem with or without you? I want you to state that. I want you then to state what it would feel like to solve that pain point. And then the third thing is, what do you do to solve that pain point? Those are the 3 steps. To identify the pain point, what would it feel like to solve that pain point, and what do you do to solve that pain point for them? Now, once you've done this, and Alex, I'm back to you now, I want you to build your first 3 sentences using those steps. Here's why. Alex, I'm totally self-centered, and everybody is. And when I land on your LinkedIn profile and I'm sitting in my office and I'm trying to decide whether I want to have you come in as a consultant for me, when I land on your profile, I'm busy too, for the record. I'm moving quick. I see the first word in your about section is I. I'm like, I don't want to hear about her. But if you were speaking to me, I'm going to read your about section, and your about section is your marketing piece. This is where you can do the most sharing of why you are the best person for the job, the best person for a promotion, the best person to work with that consultancy, the best person to put flooring down. This is the spot that you're going to be able to draw them in. It's the most important part of the sales portion of LinkedIn. And I don't care, all of you are on LinkedIn for some sort of sales reason, promotion, job, you want to get more clients, whatever that case is. So, Alex, the first sentence here, and I'm getting a little hoarse. At the end of the day, I think I've been talking too much today. You're going to identify that pain point first by stating it. All right. So I'm going to make this up just for the sake of time. I'm going to kind of tease this out as if, actually, you know what? I'm going to do Jason because I think I can do Jason faster. So, Alex, are you okay if I kind of play around with Jason? Because I can do his easier. I can do his off the top of my head. You're not going to be offended by that, are you? All right, cool. Like you could have responded any other way. Thank you for being a good sport. So, Jason, the pain point for your audience is that their kitchen's not attractive. They need new flooring in their kitchen. So you start off your about section and you would say homeowners would like their kitchen to always be up to date. Homeowners would like their kitchen to be attractive when they're entertaining. There's a lot of ways to play with this, right? So that's what I want you to have as your first sentence in your about section. Second sentence is we're going to solve that pain point. What does it feel like? The feeling is when you have new flooring in your kitchen, you have friends over more often, and your friends are going to be closer. You're going to see your friends more often. You're going to, the friends of your kids will come over more often because you're going to feel better about your kitchen. So the feeling needs to come out. The third part is at ISOR Construction, or I can help you put down the most current flooring that will make your kitchen beautiful. Now you kind of tease that out, right? You kind of get the gist. Here's what's happening here, Jason. When you do that, people are going to read it. So Alex, using that format, you're going to get your audience to read your about section when you start talking about them first. Let's pop over and I'm going to show you guys my example. You guys this is not specifically speaking to you. We're trying to get more companies to hire us for social media. So what I do first is I say companies are always looking for their best ROI for their marketing dollars. Then I say when business people find a social media solution that gives them the best ROI, they can focus on other marketing or operations efforts. Here's what I'm doing. I'm just stating fact. When you land on my profile and you see I'm not talking about me, I'm hoping that my target audience is drawn in. If you don't like this, it's okay. You're not my target audience. And that's important. Your target audience, the people who are not in your target audience may not like your first line. And that's okay. Your target audience will. And that's something important to share. Make sure that you keep that in mind. From there, you can see where I go on and I say, Mark Galvin and his company ePresence provides a solution to the best business that business people need from social media. I'm trying to draw folks in. Why? I want them to click see more. Now, what do you want under the see more? As much as you can put. I recommend this. If you own your own company like Jason, you should talk about yourself first and then talk about your company. So Jason, I recommend that. They're going to come, they're looking at you, they're on your profile. You should share why you are great. Share your passion and why you're passionate about what you do. So make sure you show me you love what you do. And the reason that's important, Jason, I want the guy doing the flooring in my kitchen to love his job because he's going to do a better job. So all of you think about that. As you're looking for a promotion, you're looking for a new job, you're trying to get sales, you're talking to a client, you're Alex and you're consulting. You want your target audience to know you're passionate about your work because people want to work with people who love what they do, not the ones that lower their head and come in like, I don't want to do this work. Super important. After you describe you, then get into your company, Jason, and here you can get into what the company is all about. All right. I would stratify it that way. Cool. I've been talking a lot. I want a swig of water. Anybody have a question?
Mark, we do actually have a follow-up question about the profiles. Cool. Chauncey Stern, class of 03, asks, how important is it to keep a profile up to date if I'm not actively networking or looking for a job?
Do not think of LinkedIn as only a job site. Really important. Jason, are you looking for a job? If you are, don't answer that. That was probably the wrong thing. So Jason's not looking for a job. Why are you interested in LinkedIn?
It is a networking opportunity. It's also a potential marketing opportunity.
So I would encourage all of you to keep your LinkedIn profile up to date because of the business aspect of it. LinkedIn is now becoming, it has 760 million people on the platform. I think it's actually 765 million. And there are people, I'm just going to pull up some random folks here. There are people who are here because they need to grow their reach to other business people. And you can influence those people to do business with you. This gentleman, for example, he's in a new role and he has to promote this exhibit company. So he is working hard to promote that exhibit company. If I go in and search for exhibitors, he's going to pop up on those search results. Another person here, Tracy Roberts, she's with Cox Media. She has to keep her profile up to date because her clients are going to land on her profile if they're meeting her for coffee, right? They're going to want to know what she looks like. And they also want to know, what has she done? She's been with Cox Media for 24 years. Could that influence you? Yes. So I would encourage you to not just think about LinkedIn as a job site, but it gives you legitimacy. I'll give you another example. So this gentleman, Matthew Shepard, is the COO of Delta Community Credit Union. This gentleman has a robust profile, and he does that because his profile is important because he's influencing people to work for his company. He's influencing people to make deposits with Delta Community Credit Union. And who knows? He's the COO. He might get a job offer. But notice this, he's supporting the company brand on his profile. Super important, because if I'm going to hire somebody, a CEO, I want to know that COO that I'm potentially hiring is supporting the brand. I probably went a little long on that, but hopefully that answers that question. What else we got, Jason? Anything else?
I don't think anything. We do still have a few of the early questions, though.
Okay, good. I'm glad you mentioned that. I got to pull that piece of paper out. Let's jump on to the next piece, and then we'll get into those other questions. The next one I want to talk about is the skills and endorsement section. So this is super important for search. All these little words that appear here are going to have an impact on the search from the search bar. It will, like I searched meeting planner before, the meeting planners that have skills and endorsements, have meeting planner in skills and endorsements, have a better shot of showing up in the search section. If you're looking for a job, This is the section that's going to directly impact whether a recruiter calls you, because the skills are going to be the part that they're going to search by. So you need to make sure you've got all of them selected. So you can get up to 50 on here. I'm going to zoom out. You can get up to 50 on here. So you need to make sure that all 50 are there, that you have every potential option listed. Here's something else. Hey, JJ, let's make this the whole screen, because it's harder to see. The other thing is that you need to ask people to endorse you for your skills and endorsement. So you guys, I tell you what you ought to do: make a deal with each other here with the Miami University Alumni Association. You guys should send a message out to each other and say, hey, please go endorse me for my top 3. So what does that mean? I mean, I pop in here, Jason, are we not connected? We're not connected. I can't endorse you. Do me a favor, accept my connection request that I just sent to you, and I'll come back and we'll go through how that works. But let me show you how you guys can really attack this. I got to go to my own profile to show you how you build that. Let's make that a little larger. So all the way down to that section. How do you add skills endorsements? When you're on your profile, you'll see this, add a new skill. You click that button, and bada bing, bada boom, I can come in here and I can type in, I can type too, meeting planner. If I plug that in there, notice what comes up. Some search options, some SEO words. Remember we were talking about the words for your headline? This might be a good place to come and find potential search words. So flooring, Jason, I'm just going to type in flooring, not flooring contractor. Look at all these words that pop up as potential options for flooring. You may want to include rubber, epoxy, laminate, hardwood as what flooring you offer, because I might go in and search, I really want a hardwood floor. I may type in hardwood flooring. So that will help you, but you should definitely select all of those and make sure all those words are there. And all of you should do this. You should try to, if you can add 50, get up to 50. Then once you do that, ask everybody to endorse you. Jason, did you accept my endorsement, my connection request?
I did.
Thank you very much. You can disconnect from me after this because you probably don't want to be connected. All right, I'm going to do a refresh here. So you guys know, Jason and I are in a networking group, and I think we've had a few drinks together. Oh, wait a minute. You don't want anybody to know that, did you? All right. So notice this. Now he's got the plus sign. So if I click the little plus sign by sales, I can go through and select how good he was. I'm going to give you guys another hack. I don't have to. I can click out of that. I'm out. So you can endorse people quickly just by clicking the little plus sign. I've just endorsed him for those. Make sure you guys endorse each other. Make it a party. Send yourselves, create your own group inside. Do you guys have a group in LinkedIn? I think you do.
We do.
So go into the group and request, hey, folks, will you guys endorse me for my top 3? So endorsing each other for the top 3 is important. How do you determine what your top 3 are? You can control this. Come over here to the pencil. When you click the pencil, you can come down and move your top 3 up or down, or deselect them by clicking the little push pin. And then you can grab another one and you can move that up. So there are ways to control those. I recommend that you select your top 3 that you really want people to endorse you for which you want to be endorsed, and push them up top. All right, good. The last section, I got 5 minutes, and this is perfect before we open up to straight Q&A, and I'll go through all these questions that we have printed. The next one is the experience section. And when you get into experience, a couple of things we want you to think about. The first is that your experience line, this line right here, is also very important for search. So if I were to do a more obscure search, you'll see that some people show up with these words as part of the search results. You also should know that the words that appear here under your experience also have a direct impact on search. Not as direct as that headline, and my headline appears up here, not as direct as the headline. Think of it this way. If LinkedIn combs your profile 10 times an hour, every single one of those times they'll look at your headline. But 7 of those times, they'll go through and look at everything else. It's not quite as important, but it's still important. The other thing I would encourage you to do is take your resume and under your experience section, list the achievements of each of your jobs. And that's not a good example. Don't look at me as an example. Look at somebody else. So let's go to Jason. Let's see what you've got here. So Jason, you have, because you were a recruiter before here. So under recruiting at GPAC, so what you've done is you describe what you did here. Totally cool. I would recommend that you list some of your achievements. Increase recruiting percentage by X%. Or for some of you, maybe you've raised revenue, or maybe you have saved the company money by implementing cost-saving measures. You may actually put dollars and cents on your resume, but on LinkedIn, take that same achievement and do it by a percentage. Lowered costs by 20% in 2021. Build in very specific achievements, because when I land on a profile and I feel like I know what they do at that organization, I'm probably going to assume I know that job. I don't need to be told what you do. Show me your achievements. So I would encourage you to put achievements in each of these if you are, especially if you are looking at sales or trying to get other opportunities. Good. Questions? Jason, anything from the audience?
Yes, we do have one that relates to, in my opinion at least, when we were talking about whether or not to have a personal and a professional profile, and it's directly about developing a profile. Not sure who this one's from, I do apologize, but they ask, can you speak to carefully curating your online presence as an individual versus just being everywhere, constantly posting on LinkedIn and etc. If one is of the camp of less is more and limiting profile visibility, where do you see the highest value?
Good. So I want you all to remember your audience comes first. And if you think about your audience first, they will dictate how you communicate. And it's important that you think of your connections as your audience on LinkedIn, or who you really want to speak to. If your audience is one that's not going to appear often on LinkedIn, or they're just not going to respond to a lot of posts, then don't post a lot. If your audience is going to, then you should post more often. There's a tendency to project your own personal feelings on whether you should be active on LinkedIn or not. And it's difficult to keep that balance. Think of your audience first and then speak to them. I'm gonna tell you, I don't post enough, and we post somewhat frequently. So the reason I don't post enough is because I'm in that social media space. So I need to do that more. You need to adapt your content to your audience. Here's the next thing. What content should you share? The easiest way to share content is by curating content. You see something you think is interesting, share that content and say why you think that that's great. So, go in. A good one would be the Harvard Business Review. The Harvard Business Review is a great place to pull business content if you're in the business realm. And when you're there, they're going to have content that you're going to find that is interesting. Right away, I'm going to tell you what, get rid of that. I could share this article in a heartbeat. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to grab, actually, I need to click into the article. I wasn't even in it. So I could share this article on my LinkedIn profile. There are faster ways to do this, but let's just quickly, come on, there we go. We'll quickly show you this. Go in, start a post, drop in the link, and then start saying why that's important. So I could share this with my audience and say why I think it's important. The other thing you can do you can really drive attention to your post by tagging someone. And there are certain people that you could tag. And I'm going to tag Jason. I can also backspace over his last name. So I just have his first name if I want. It'll still let him remain tagged. And I can say, Jason, I thought you would find this interesting. So keep in mind, you could do stuff like that. Now, I'm not going to come up with a headline because I'd have to stop. I'm really bad about coming up with creative and talking at the same time. But you could come up with something really creative and share this content this way. And also make sure you're grabbing hashtags, because hashtags extend your audience. The key here is when you look at posting and you're looking at the impact that it will have on your own brand, make sure you're remembering who your audience is first and share content with that audience that they'll find interesting. Does this include personal posts? Yes, because you are the person they'll either hire or they'll do business with. So do remember that. The person is who they're going to do business or hiring or promoting, for that matter. And you could share content about you that is compelling, yet avoids politics, sex, or religion. I do want you guys to remember that. I would not go down that road. Do not get political on LinkedIn. Don't share anything that has to do with sex, and don't get into religious beliefs. And I will tell you, I'm as religious as the next person. You're going to alienate someone. I recommend that you don't do that. Use the other platforms. If you feel passionate about something, you could use that on the Facebook side. Good. What else you got, Jason?
We got another one that builds on this one nicely, actually. This person asks, over the course of a person's career development, how should their digital presence evolve?
Oh, that's really awesome. So your digital presence is while it's rather large over your career, and you guys are going to see it more than even older generations, because there's going to be other platforms that appear that will have an impact on your own digital presence. So what you should do is you should focus on what you can control. And the first thing I would do is share new content about what you are doing and how you're impacting the things that are important to you. You should make sure that you start to share content that shows that you're progressing in your space. So for example, if we were to go look at Alex's profile and we were to see where she is. So she started at Georgia Pacific. This is actually great. So you can see she's progressing. Here she is. She went through from market vision research. Hey, Alex, FYI, connect this piece up to this piece. And you can do that by adding this job, by connecting it by the company you select. So there's a pull down menu. When you go over here to the right, there'll be a pencil. Select that pencil. You'll type in market vision research. Make sure you're selecting this icon because it's breaking this up. Anyway, and here's why that's important. It'll show here, it says she was there for 3 years. It doesn't include these 4 months. This could be 3 years and 5 months. And I would tell you, I would do that. But building this shows the progression of your career, and that's super important. You don't have to share all the nitty-gritties. If you're just progressing your career is fine, but I would build this in to show the things that are really going to complement where you are today. Here's something else. I get this question a lot. Should I include that job that was way back here in my career, on my experience? What I would encourage you to do is take the positions off that don't complement where you are today, right? So when I was in the hotel business, I kept front desk person on my LinkedIn profile because it still complemented where I was in the hotel business. Well, now that I'm no longer there, I don't have that on my profile. So the important part about your career development and your digital profile is keep it up to date. And that would be the one thing I would take away is just keep it up to date.
We do have a question about a specific scenario. Do you think we have time to address that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. This individual says, I am the membership chair for an American women's club in Toronto, Canada. It's been a challenge to find expats here who might want to be a part of this club. I'm hoping to learn how a better online presence will help us reach potential members.
Good. So the first thing that I would recommend that you do is create great content that's going to engage the people that you know are in your audience. So, and you want to be organic. So to be organic, the way I would do this is find those expats that you know that are up there, and start connecting to them from your own profile. And then as you connect with those people, what I would ask them to do is, and I would give them a call to action on your posts. I would tag them in a post and ask them, please share this so that we can reach other alum. And then ask them to tag people on their posts. So that's what I would do. Connect with the alums that are in that area. Send them connection requests. And when you do, send them a little note. Hey, I'm part of the Miami University Alumni Association here in Canada. Like to go ahead and connect. And then when you have content that you're sharing, make sure you're tagging them as often as possible to get their attention, and then give them a call to action. Please share this so that we can get other people that are Miami alums to join us. The other thing you could do is you could create your own LinkedIn group and ask those members to invite people that they know that are in Canada to join that group. And the key to groups, and here's the problem with LinkedIn. When you build a LinkedIn group, people can get on there, well, you can join it and never go back. I would go into that and tag the people that are members as often as possible to bring them back to that group. There are some tricks. One of them is find people who have a lot of connections and connect to them first, because they can reach more people. Yeah, I know that some of their people may not be alums of Miami University, but by getting them to engage will show that your post is more important and it will serve it to more people. Good.
Great.
What else we got, Jason?
Well, if you're willing to keep going, I have a pretty interesting question. There's an individual who would like to know how to purge their Twitter history.
Purging Twitter history.
So
the first thing is
it up. So
what?
I was just saying the specific question is, are there recommendations for how to clean up a Twitter profile?
Yeah, so the first thing I would encourage you to, that I would tell you is if your Twitter profile has so much content that you can't delete it, then I would deactivate it and start another one. Now, the question is if you got a lot of followers on Twitter, then you don't want to do that. The only way to purge that history is you got to go through and you got to delete those posts that are not complementary to whatever your mission is today. There's no quick way to do it. There's no API, no software that I know of that can go out there and quickly get rid of posts.
And then there is one other quick question that just came in. Do you have any specific tips or tricks for active duty military or service members?
I don't have something specific with them, although they should be on LinkedIn. And I would encourage them to start connecting to the organizations that could be potential employers after you're in the military. The challenge that you've got in the military is you can't really share what you're doing. You often can't say that you're in the Army. So if you can't share what you're doing right now, then you may not want to be on LinkedIn at all. You don't want to have a place on LinkedIn that shows that you don't have any positions to share, because then it's questionable. So if you can share what you're doing, then I would recommend that you do that and start building relationships with people that are not in the military where you'd like to work. But I do know that's a real issue, that you can't always share what you're doing, because that could be intelligence.
Great. All right. Well, I think everyone knows what I'm going to be spending the rest of the night doing. Thanks for that, Mark.
Hey, I'd love to share my texting number if we can drop that on the screen.
Yes. I don't know if JJ can take care of that. Oh, here we go.
Boom. So I'll
Perfect.
tell you what this is. Guys, if you could text Miami to that phone number, 404-795-4310, just the word Miami to 404-795-4310. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. How did I do? What do you think was the most important topic? And if you guys would like more information from ePresence, We're a full service social media agency. We help individuals and companies on social. We do webinars like this. And we even do consulting where we'll work with a group that needs help today on their social, but they don't want long-term help. This is kind of cool. We offer this really cool package where we help new college graduates with their resume, with their LinkedIn profile, and we do a mock interview with them so they get some practice with interviewing without having to get an interview. We all know how that goes. Jason, did your first interview, was your practice on your first interview?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's typically what we have, right? Oh, I got to get interviews so I get to practice at it. Don't do that. We actually do an in-person, face-to-face interview so folks can practice that.
Great. I'm sure Mark would also love for you guys to subscribe to ePresence YouTube channel to hear even more great tips. Now's actually a great time for you guys to subscribe since there is a monthly drawing for, as Mark says, a cool Yeti tumbler.
Oh, also, I don't have one on my desk to show. I must have drank out of it today.
You guys can also tune into his podcast channel to learn more about digital marketing from his impressive guests. And that show is called How's Your ePresence? It appears on all major podcasts. And then I did want to reiterate, for anyone living in the Atlanta area or passing through on June 3rd, join us at Piedmont Park for the third and final event of our Digital Makeover series, Professional Headshots in the Park, with our very own Judd Redman, who you guys may remember from our iPhoneography series last summer. He's offering his services free to any Miami alumni looking to update their headshots, which apparently I need to take one of those slots as well. And we only have a limited number of time slots available, so do try to sign up as soon as possible. But thank you again, Mark, for joining us tonight, and thank you everyone else who made time to be with us. This was great. Love and honor.
And Jason, thank you and Alex for being willing to let me share your profiles. I'd really appreciate that. You guys made the program so much more robust. It's awesome.
Appreciate everything. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, all.